Okay, here's your next example. If you've been watching them in order, you notice I erased the fact that this is the chain rule because I need more board space. This is where the problems are going to become a little bit longer, more work to be done. So if I give you this function, 2x minus 1 times x squared minus 3x plus 1 all to the third power, I need you to start recognizing when you have multiple rules combined in one single problem. So we have a polynomial raised to a power. So this right here is the chain rule, but I want you to look at the whole entire problem and determine first and foremost, you're multiplying two quantities together. So as a whole, this is the product rule. You have the chain rule within the product rule. So you need to first start with the product rule. So I want you to think of this quantity as A, this quantity as B, and you know that the product rule is A prime B plus A B prime. So we are going to follow the product rule, and when we get to B, when we have to do the derivative of B, we then have to apply the chain rule. So let me just change back to the blue. Okay. All right, so we're going to follow our rule. Our first derivative is going to be A prime times B. So the derivative of A is just 2, and then leave B the way it is. So we have x squared minus 3x plus 1 raised to the third power. So there's your A prime times B. Plus, now we have to do A, 2x minus 1, times the derivative of B, B prime. So look at this as a problem all by itself. Do the derivative using the chain rule. So we have to take this 3 and multiply by the coefficient in front of the parentheses, which is 1. So we get times 3, and then it's x squared minus 3x plus 1. Decrease this exponent by 1, and then we have to multiply by the derivative of what's inside the parentheses. So for x squared minus 3x plus 1, the derivative is 2x minus 3. So now we need to clean this up. One of the things that I want you to do is recognize that you actually have two terms here. Remember, addition and subtraction separate terms. So when you look at these two terms, you see that x squared minus 3x plus 1 to the second power is common to both terms. So we are now going to factor out x squared plus 3x plus 1 squared from each term. Oops. All right, so this is where all your algebra skills come in. Remember I told you guys if you can do algebra, you can do calculus. This is all algebra. So we are going to factor out x squared minus 3x plus 1 from each term, raised to the second power. Even though it's raised to the third here, it's raised to the second. So what they have in common is this quantity squared. So now I took out 2 of them, so I have 1 left, and I took out this whole thing. This is out. All right, so now I'm going to put brackets because we have to write down what's left after we factor that quantity out. So we have a 2, and we still have x squared minus 3x plus 1 raised to the first power. Bring down this plus sign, and just because I feel better about it, I don't know about you guys, I feel better, I'm going to put this constant 3 first. So I have a 3 times 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 3. All right, so this was our greatest common factor. We factored that out from each term. So now we're back to just cleaning things up a little. So f prime of x, our first derivative, is going to be x squared minus 3x plus 1 squared, and I'm going to keep the brackets for now. I'm going to distribute the 2 through. So 2x squared minus 6x plus 2. And then I'm going to put plus 3, and I'm going to FOIL these two binomials before I distribute the 3 through. You could distribute the 3 to the first binomial and then FOIL. It doesn't matter. Either one is correct. So when I FOIL these two, I get 4x squared minus 6x minus 2x plus 3. So now I'm gonna do a couple steps. I'm not gonna do every single step out this time. So in the brackets, we have 2x squared minus 6x plus 2, plus I'm gonna distribute this 3 and at the same time combine these two. So 3 times 4x squared is 12x squared. Now, negative 6 minus 2, that's negative 8x, and negative 8x times 3 is negative 24x. And then 3 times 3 is 9. And our very last step is to combine like terms in the brackets. So we still have the x squared minus 3x plus 1 to the second power. And I'm going to change back to parentheses now. I was using brackets just so you could distinguish between what was left after we factored out the GCF and the GCF. All right, so we're going to combine like terms. 2x squared plus 12x squared, that's 14x squared. Negative 6x minus 24x, that's negative 30x. And then 2 plus 9 is 11. And you can stop there. You do not need to FOIL everything out. And that is your final answer.